Four comedians are also real good friends, working on jokes, the fun never ends. They're asking each other, is this anything?
Which episode? It might have been episode 3, actually, where Brett had the bandana around his neck, and we talk about it, and I started the episode with that. But if you're just listening, you won't know why we're going so crazy over Brett's bandana.
Is it not clear that we're talking about that Brett's wearing a bandana and that's the reason why we're talking about it?
I think eventually you get it, but at first we're like, wait, I gotta say something about this, and if you're not looking at what's happening,
this is making me so happy just remembering this bit. And
it
how
was like
long
3 minutes
how long
about the bandana.
It was like 10 episodes later.
Yeah, it was a running gag. So anyway, if you're watching this episode, we immediately start talking about Brett's bandana that he's wearing around his neck.
It's bright yellow.
I'd love to get started soon, but I just got to ask Brett about this bandana. What's going on here? Is this
I was just at the reason I had to do this late is at my sister's having lunch with my dad outdoors.
Oh, I see.
And this was, for walking around and being
putting it over your face.
I'm actually more surprised that Jarret was curious about a bandana in this day and age. It's just like, what is this? What is this face mask you're wearing right now?
If we were
stop for a second and explain this?
If we were outside, then yes. But Brett is sitting in his house with it around his neck on a stream that is recording for mass production, and I was like,
okay,
it's got to be some sort of fashion choice, right?
I look great. Is that better?
You came in the house, you put it down, you caught yourself in the mirror, and you were like, "Oh, okay,
that's fine."
All right.
Yeah, I actually did. I did that. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Rob, is that?
What? I'm sorry. This is awkward.
I don't have a face mask within reach, or I would do a similar bit.
Yeah, I don't
you guys know how I feel about getting up.
We know you're lazy. All you're
Keep up the great work.
Oh, Brett, boo!
Oh no!
Boo.
I didn't. I'm not embarrassed about it. I didn't even realize I had it on until you said something.
Boring.
Okay. All right.
spruce up that neck.
Yeah. Gross.
Using my new flair aspects to this recording.
Every week it's going to be a new thing. Next week I hope it's a fedora.
His camera's dancing.
You guys ready to get started? I'm going to turn on the Jarret machine.
Let's do
All right.
it.
Okay.
Boop boop. All right. And
the sounds have changed drastically from the first time we used the Jarminator. We were all four of us were making sounds, different octaves, and it has now become boop boop.
All right, boop boop.
boop boop boop.
Bleep blop.
Okay, let's turn on this stupid machine. Beep boop boop. Hey, baba boo.
We got feedback from our producers saying we gotta shorten the show. The Jarret machine bit is taking way
You
too
guys
long.
made sound effects for 15 minutes.
I think I figured out why these are so long. Okay, so our order for this week is Brett, Anthony, Jarret, Rob. So we'll start off with Brett today.
I watched that HBO documentary, the Michael Jackson one. I'm a little bit late to it, but after watching that, I think that the man in the mirror might have said no.
I like this joke. I saw this joke on
Yes.
I believe it was Facebook yesterday, maybe?
Yeah,
Or 2
it
days
did
ago?
not do well enough to stay up. And I'm curious if the lyrics are not well known enough, or people are like, "Oh, that's poor taste." I thought it was. I was pretty happy with it. The two people who did like it gave it a hilarious react. So I don't know.
Because the only part of that song that I remember is I'm staring at the man in the mirror.
Starting with, I believe, the man in the mirror.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. And so
Yeah.
when I heard that joke, I was like, I know there's some lyric in here where that joke makes sense and is funny, but I haven't gotten there yet in my brain.
So the HBO documentary is about how this abuse happened to many boys over and over and over and over again, the same patterns of behavior. And the next lyric in that is, I'm asking him to change his ways.
There you go.
Gotcha.
When I read your joke, I didn't even immediately think of the follow-up to I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I just assumed the man in the mirror was Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson said, oh, it's interesting. I was actually thinking that my conception of it was that he said no, like the boys said no, that kind of thing.
Oh.
And I was still like, that's good enough for me. I still liked it.
You didn't like it, though, because there were only 2 likes. I had a feeling.
He called you out.
I had a feeling that it was for the 2 people who got it that they enjoyed it, but it was not well received. So the joke is I'm missing. I'm going A to F instead of A to C. Right. I'm just missing a step there. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I didn't immediately. I knew the next line, and I didn't immediately know what the joke was.
I guess because I've heard the song so recently, it's like that lyric is so. I'm staring at the man, starting the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Is like,
And he definitely
yeah. But I need you to know that line to be like the connection of and do the math yourself of.
Is it not funny to you if you say something like, I guess, the man in the mirror decided not to change his ways?
Yeah, maybe that's. I liked the brevity of. I guess I think the answer might have been no.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have to be super familiar with his lyrics. So, not a joke worth making work.
Now, I know that you said not worth saving, but I just had this one idea that I want to tell you. Is it like, whatever year that song came out in, 89, 90 or something like that?
Right.
You say, in that year, Michael Jackson sang, I'm starting with the man in the mirror, I'm asking him to change his ways. And then he molested like 100 boys. And I'm wondering if he ever like checked back in with the man in the mirror and was like, so I asked you. And
That's very funny.
what did you think I was talking about? I wasn't talking about recycling, like.
I love that. I love making the thing a whole world and a big sketch and a big scene.
Yeah.
If the shortest version doesn't work, I'm like, blow it out.
Yeah.
Make it a 20-minute long film.
Yeah, that's one of the situations where it actually does make sense to make it longer. I know that's been my my shitty critique, but making
And
it longer
Jarret's
actually
specialty.
helps.
That's right. That's right.
It does help. That's very funny.
Yeah, I agree.
Presented
That's
that way.
a great edit. Yeah, that could work. I would say the way that you just framed it, I could do that now. I could do that later. Yeah.
I think you do it 2 years from now. Like, it just doesn't. That joke's.
I think I could do it yesterday.
Evergreen.
I can do it over here. I can do it over there.
I can do it wearing a bandana. No, I can do whatever I want.
Thanks, Jarret.
You're welcome.
So versatile, this joke. Alrighty then. I like to cut to the when somebody has a tattoo. I just like to cut to the chase and say, "Who died?" Instead of asking, "What does that symbolize?" Because I feel like that always happens. You go like, "Oh, what's your tattoo about?" And somebody's like, "Well, my dad, he passed away on a pike, so I got this tattoo of a pike." In remembrance and also awareness of pikes. That part, that was just off the top of the head.
I like that so much.
It's just a pike. It's an empty pike.
That explanation of the joke was funnier than the joke.
By the way.
Is that not
for sale? Pikes for sale.
It's not part of the joke.
Get them quick while the revolution's still just starting.
It is now. But no, the joke was just asking, just cutting to the chase. Who died?
Mm-hmm. I like getting my own pike, but I also like renting with City Pike.
Fit for a king or a queen. Get your pikes right here.
$50 an hour, everybody. I am coaching.
Great
Yeah,
pike joke, Brett.
I think that the explanation is really funny. I think it might be funnier to put the explanation first, and then be like, that's why whenever I see anybody with a tattoo, I just go, "Who died?"
Yeah, that is true. Because
Jarret, master of form today.
Dude, and you think you can't be charging $100 an hour?
I'm not paying you for this, but it would have been worth it.
Yeah. At what point do you guys start kicking in for the Jarret Fund? Having me on this.
Yeah, you're crushing it. I totally agree with Jarret. I think that's great because the assumption you're making might be too big of a leap for the audience where they're like, what? Because so many people have tattoos and so many people are like, what? Like, I have a heart on my ankle. Like, what do you...
Right.
So to
So
explain
if I
it
personalize
Yeah,
every time
yeah.
I ask somebody about a tattoo, it always ends up being like,
Always that. And
I'm
then
like,
you bring
oh,
it
is it
in.
a cool? And they're like, yeah, somebody died. Yeah, that's great.
Because then
Sorry.
then they'll laugh at both ideas. Because if you do it the other way, they might not laugh until the explanation. But this way, it sort of guarantees two laugh lines.
Yeah,
Sure.
I have like a working joke theory based in pronouns. I have like I consider there to be I jokes, we jokes, they jokes, and when you make a we joke, which is I think your original conception, meaning everybody feels this way, you have to be very correct about what it is that you're doing and saying. But Louis C.K. is a good example of always putting the onus on him. He makes a lot of I jokes, and what the benefit of that is that he doesn't have to be correct. It just has to be his personal experience. So he always and then you can laugh at him because you're like, I agree. You're like, I don't agree. That's crazy. And and then I think hack jokes are they jokes, where it's like present company excluded. They're like cashiers, aren't they awful? You know, and you take the onus off of everybody because you're just like not homeless people, right? All that stuff. So anyway, I just like that structure. I love the idea of you starting with your personal experience, and then you broaden it from there. So yeah, that's a great.
If Brett, if you decide to work on this joke and like make it a little bit more, I think another thing, a direction you can go in is the difference between like a thing versus a name. Where it's like, if you see the name, you're like, oh, I know who died. It's that guy. It's that name. That's right there. So maybe there could be a thing with like, just cut to the chase, just put the name or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
Or it might be funny if there's a situation where you're wrong too. You're just wildly, incredibly wrong. I'm not sure what that would look like. Whether it's just someone's just infatuation with teardrops, or they just.
Oh, teardrop is when you kill someone.
Yes.
And so that's a funny angle on it too.
Or they could have two tattoos. They have a teardrop and then a name of somebody, and you're like, what happened here?
So I have to cross-reference this.
Did that person come from that?
Is this a story? Is
this remorse? Is the name remorse from the teardrop?
Oh no! He's putting another teardrop on him. That'd be a cool serial killer. A serial killer who only kills tattoo artists, and they put the teardrop on him, and then you're next. That's my idea for a movie. That's it.
Or maybe you see a guy who has your name tattooed on it. You're like, oh, hey, that's my name. Oh.
Wait, so the tattoo artist kills people. He puts the teardrop on the person and then kills them?
No, the guy asks for a teardrop tattoo because he's about to kill the tattoo artist.
Oh.
Basically, Rob's movie pitch is not paying for stuff. The serial killer who kills tattoo artists so he doesn't have to pay.
Yeah. Don't you get it?
I like that because then it's like every time I get a teardrop tattoo, it's from someone I kill, and also every time I get a car, it's someone that I killed, and every time I get a bed, it's someone that I killed, and every time I get a meatball sub, it's someone that I killed. It's just everybody.
I wish I could commemorate these
death
kills,
count.
but I can't because I killed my tattoo artist first.
5-finger death count.
Yeah, that's the title. That's the
Nice.
title I just came up with.
I like that.
But yeah, my original thought was that can you account for people who have tattoos that obviously have nothing to do with death? And have you ever like over guessed? Oh, obviously, you come up with some story. And you're like, no.
Oh yeah,
it's
so
not.
like are you saying like they have like a a tattoo that says like R.I.P. Grandma. I'm like, Grandpa, and I'm like, oh, did somebody die? And they're like, oh no, that's my favorite band.
Like to rip, you know.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry about your grandpa, and they're like, what are you talking about?
It says Rip Van Winkle. That's what the tattoo says.
I'm sorry. Is this
I'm
your
so
appreciation
sorry
of
about your-
literature?
Sorry about your friend Van.
R.I.P. Van Winkle. That's really funny.
Like that.
Okay, am I on time? That's gonna do it for me.
All right,
Thanks a
sounds
lot,
good. Anthony, you are up
Sure.
next.
Nice.
All right.
Sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So I got this thing about cashiers. Am I right? You know,
Present company excluded.
I guess I did. I do have this idea. It feels like the beginning of a joke, but I don't know. It's sort of related to cashiers. Just the idea of me going into a store and asking the cashier to break a penny. And I don't know if I should say I asked if they could break a penny or if I should say I asked if they had change of a penny. I don't know what's funnier, and I don't know if that's a punchline, but that's an idea I've had for a while that I don't know what to do with.
I like break because it's like they think you mean change. You mean, are you strong enough to break this penny in half? And so it could even be like you walk into you open to a cashier and say, hey, can you break this? And they go, sure. And as they're opening the cash register, you hand them a penny. You know, I don't know if there's something there, but that's the idea that
Then
I
they're like, well, that's impossible, and you're like, well, then I guess you can't. I guess you're too weak.
Not strong enough to do it.
I like the reality of how much cheaper things were back in the past, and sort of just imagining a world where you'd walk into a store with a nickel and be like, hey, could you break this? And they're like,
there were half pennies like back in the
hay
day.
penny. I was also thinking about that.
There were half
penny,
pennies because I do remember as a kid hearing old people talk about, like, I don't know, somewhere on TV, some old guy talking about selling newspapers or baseball cards or something, and it was whatever it was half a penny each. But I didn't know if that was, you know, I just assumed you'd have to buy
You had
two.
to get two every time.
there was a half penny.
I believe it's called a hay penny, and I don't know when it stopped.
You know, I just remembered that I also a long time ago had this idea for it's not a joke really, just the idea of a 1 cent bill.
I like that.
I don't know if those two things go together in some sort of joke. But breaking a penny and the 1 cent bill are
The 1 cent bill costs 3 cents to make.
You mean like the German
I think
franc in
that's-
1937? Yay!
I think that's a really funny idea. Maybe you could frame it like, you know, we tried to do the $1 coin a couple of years ago and it didn't work. So I think it's time for my idea, the 1 cent bill.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's nice.
That's funny. You know, so
Jarret, knock
I
it out
didn't
of the
plan.
park.
You are. And I'm remembering all this stuff that I didn't plan to talk about, but I did have this other joke that never worked, which was talking about the dollar coins. And
fluffing his pillow.
well, that's what this is for, right? I'm not coming here with my A material. What's the point?
Exactly.
But I did try it a few times on stage. I said the other day I had one of those dollar coins in my pocket, and I really hate those. So I went into a store and what is it?
I think I know why it didn't work.
Yeah, the pause was in there. I'm trying to think of the wording of, I don't know. So I went into a store and I bought something. Oh yeah, I was just saying I wanted to get rid of it. So I went into a store and I bought something, but I really messed up because the thing that I bought only cost 50 cents. So now I have more coins than I started with. That was I could, yeah. I couldn't remember what I did in this. If I was asking him to break the thing, or I was trying to get rid of it. That's what I was trying to remember. But they gave me.
Wait, so can you start it from the beginning again?
I had one of those dollar coins in my pocket, and I hate those things. So I went into a store to get rid of it. But I really messed up because the thing that I bought only cost 50 cents. So now I have more coins than I started with.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
You like that?
sure.
It never worked. I think at one point I even tried it by saying it was like 2 dimes and a nickel and I think I said what all the coins were because it wasn't even 2 quarters. It was like just a bunch of.
I know my problem with it.
Okay.
And my problem is that it's way too obvious from the jump that this plan's a failure to me. So as soon as you say I want to get rid of it, I'm like, this is impossible. You only get coins back. That are going to be more. So I'm just like, I'm ahead of you personally.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have $2 coins and you wanted to like get rid of them, and something cost $1.25, and then you ended up with 3 quarters. For some reason in my head, I'm just like, stupid. Like it makes me laugh to think you're like, I hate these coins. I just wanted to spend them quick, and then the thing wasn't like $2. It turned out to be like $1.10, $1.25, and then you're just like, Jesus
I see.
Christ. I just
Or
got all these coins back.
What if I had a few of them and then I went to go do laundry, and then now I have just a pocket full of quarters?
That too.
Could that be less expected than? Because I like your idea, but I'm wondering if people are going to be like, "What is this? A word problem?" He's got $2. He buys a thing for $1.25. Like they're doing, they're doing the.
I think it's simple enough. I think you could definitely. It was a little clunky, and I know you were looking for the words, but I think you could even shorten to like, I want to get rid of these $2 coins I had. So I went to a store to buy something that cost $2, but when I got to the cashier, she told me it was on sale, and she gave me 75 cents back.
So now I have 3 coins.
Now I have 3 coins.
She gave me 75 cents, all in dimes. I don't even know how she did it because it's not even possible.
Now I got 7 dimes and half a dime.
Oh shit! I wasn't timing myself. Is anybody timing me?
I was timing you, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
missed
that's right.
I missed everything funny Brett just said. Because it was
Oh, it was
Doing,
great.
Rob?
Damn, I'll have to go back to the recording. But I came back to just laughter from all the boxes.
I didn't even realize you gone. What the hell?
No, I just unplugged this, so I couldn't hear.
Oh,
it.
gotcha.
Yeah, what? You have a lot of wires coming out of your microphone. today.
Yeah, it's just 2. It's the one that's connected to
That's
the
a lot.
computer.
So many.
I don't like it.
You have more wires than Brett
You know
has
what?
bandanas.
You just reminded me of something that people just drive me crazy. I used to have this side satchel, but then I'd also just carry this other bag with me for other things. The satchel was for like my laptop and other things, and the bag was for gym clothes or whatever. And I'd go into work, and invariably someone would be like, "Oh, look at all your bags! What's with all the bags, man?" I'm like, "It's 2, man. It's just twice the normal amount."
There's one. Then there's another one. That's a lot.
Oh, Mr. Bags! Oh, look at that Rob Ryan with his bags all the time. Look at all his bags. I was like, I don't understand why it's so weird to just fathom more than one bag. It's a second bag, and every time.
I guess there's something that goes on in a person's brain where they're like, if you have a big bag and a small bag, why don't you just put the small bag in the big bag?
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
Could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, those people are pedophiles.
Mr. Bags.
No, a pedophile would be trying to put a big bag in a small bag. Brett got it.
Yeah.
You corrected the form of the joke again.
He's on fire.
Fucking Grand Slam Berenstein today.
Well, Anthony, let's not use this past 6 minutes to your time.
I don't know what it is. There's a minute or so. How much time do I have left?
You are at 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. Do you think there's anything? You think there's anything there with the coins? Do you think like Rob's thing with the $2 and something was on sale, or maybe I sort of like the idea of like going to the laundromat and having like just an overwhelming amount. But
I love that too. If the thing is on sale, that's funny because then you didn't expect it to
Yeah.
work out that way.
I wouldn't. I don't know how specific I would be. I might change the joke to I had a couple of dollar coins I wanted to get rid of. I bought something. I got a whole bunch of coins left, and I was like, "Shit, this is the exact problem that I was trying to solve." And then
Now
maybe you can also add the thing that you bought, like, and now I have to carry around this yogurt that I didn't even want,
Oh
or
yeah.
something.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Because I was also thinking, since the original setup for Rob, it was too easy. What if I did incorporate your idea, but then I get all these quarters back, and then I'm like, so now I have to do laundry. Is that?
I like that. That's funny.
That's funny too. Maybe you
Oh
bought a
yeah,
checked
because
purse.
you're just constantly trying to get rid of coins. I like that.
Yeah.
It's your whole day.
It's my whole, yeah. So
Then somebody asks you for change, like a homeless person.
a homeless person
"Sorry."
asks me.
Sorry, I already spent a whole day making sure I had none.
Oh man, you should have caught up with me at any other point during my day.
Oh man. Okay, let me see. That's good though. I feel like that was an idea that I didn't even plan to talk about, and I feel like maybe there's something there to tinker
Definitely.
with. I have this that I've tried, but it never felt done to me. So it's Rob, you might have heard this. I'm not an organ donor yet. For now, I'm still just a private collector. I have a very small collection of my own, and I don't think I could live without them.
I have heard this before, and I've always loved it. Yeah, I think it's a great little mind twist, but it's funny.
I like it a lot. It sounds a little bit like, at first, that you are, a black market organ.
Yeah, well,
Is that
that's why.
intentional?
That's why I at first I just had it ended at private collector, but I felt like people were laughing because they thought I was making a joke about being a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's fine if they laugh at that, but then I felt like I should clarify that I have my own collection, because everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have a note?
I'm thinking that it might be funny if you just say, I am an organ donor. You said I'm not an organ donor, right?
I'm not an organ donor yet.
Well, you are an organ donor. And then you correct yourself. I'm an organ donor? Well, not yet. Because everybody refers to themselves as organ donors, even though they haven't done the deed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But they all get the credit for it. They all get to say they're an organ donor without having to give up. Well, show me the proof, buddy. I'm an organ donor. Yeah, you see right there. But nobody does. So there's something funny about that. But you can spin it any way you want. I think that the way you want to do it is to do it personally, which is super funny. I'm an organ donor. Well, not yet. I have a private collection, and then that goes very easily into the private collection.
Oh,
I'm
maybe that
a
was the
billionaire philanthropist. Well, not yet, but it says it on my license. So I'm gonna be.
It almost feels like
Yeah,
it almost
I
feels
like
like a Dimitri Martin joke where he's like, I know this guy who's an organ donor who has all of his organs. Organ donation is the only charity that you can say you did before you did it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wait, is that one
we
of
don't
his
say
jokes?
that name to Anthony.
No, I was
We
saying
don't-
it's like a.
we don't.
Oh no, I
It feels
thought that was.
stylistically like a Dimitri Martin.
Oh, I see. I thought it because I'm always trying to be careful about that.
No, I've never heard a joke like that at all. But the way Jarrett's wording it, you're right. It has
Yeah.
more of that flair.
Yeah.
But it's super
I-
funny and
I
totally
think I
yours
was-
to have.
I was probably thinking more of a Stephen Wright thing, because that first line, like I could just imagine, I'm not an organ donor yet. That like
That's
that
very
could
Stephen
be,
Wright.
That could
the way
be
Jarrett's saying it's more Dimitri, and the way
Yeah.
Brett said it is very funny too, because then you're providing just a hilarious extra example of like, oh yeah, I'm a billionaire philanthropist. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, not yet, but it says it on my license.
Anthony, your versions was Stephen Wright. Jarret, your versions was Dimitri Martin, and Brett, yours was
You're
funny.
great. You're very
It was
funny.
a Brett Jarrett original.
It was a great
It
joke.
was Brett.
It was Brett.
The style of Brett.
Circa 2020.
I ran that joke by Daniel Crow. I don't know if all of you guys know Daniel.
Yeah, I know Daniel.
Yeah.
And his idea was for me to start talking about organs as a musical instrument at some point, and then sort of I don't have all the all of those lines written down, but it was something about switching it to be like I don't even know how to read music or something like that. With the collection of organs is like useless to me because I don't know how to read music or something like that. But I don't know if that is funnier or if it's necessary to keep making it more convoluted.
If down the road, sure, I don't mind as long as you get that original point across clear. If you want to go and expand it onto a totally different concept or idea,
Yeah.
shit, that's funny.
I think that first line that might be the key to it. If it probably would have worked better if I would have said, "I'm an organ donor." Well, not yet, but yeah, that's. I think that
unlocks a lot of the funny in there because then I'm following you throughout the whole thing.
And they
then
won't
if you
think
want to
I'm
go to organ as in musical organ donor for
Yeah.
some reason and make jokes on that. I think that's very funny. And then if you want to go ahead and consider yourself an organ donor, as in the state that is on the West Coast that people pronounce that way, we pronounce it Oregon. That's cool too. Go ahead and do it. I mean,
Are you
what a
an
weird
organ
way to
donor in
pronounce that
Oregon?
state. Say again.
An organ donor?
An Oregon. Yeah, I'm from Oregon. Well, I'm from Oregon, so I'm an Oregon donor.
I play the organ in Oregon,
I'm an Oregon.
and I'm an
donor.
organ donor.
You can only donate an organ once or again.
Oh, that's good. Do I have time left?
And that is like a Brian Regan joke. With the is that a reservation? Before, if you had second thoughts about making plans for dinner on Indian
At a
territory
reservation.
or something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
How's Anthony's time, Rob?
Yeah, do I have
He's
any?
done.
Okay.
He's done.
All right, I had nothing prepared, so that's good. That I was able
All
to
right.
use the,
He is done.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm up next.
Sure are. Let's get rid
Alright.
of those 3 minutes of fun. Let's do it.
Okay. So I just proposed to my girlfriend. Proposals are weird, though. The way that marriage works, I think, is you should have a conversation with your partner. Do you think this is right for us? Is this the right time? If not now, when? And anybody should be able to bring it up, guy or girl. But as it stands, the woman just has to be in the relationship for some amount of time. It could be 5 years, it could be 6 months. And then one day, out of nowhere, the guy's going to be like, "Becky, yes or no? Yes or no? Are we doing this? Are we doing this forever, or are we walking away today? This is happening, Becky. This is you need to decide right now. Your friends and family are across the street. Are we going over there together, or are you going to be crying? Which is it, Becky? You decide right now." It's 2020. I don't think that a man should have to propose in 2020. I think a relationship should work like proposal chicken. Like you're just never sure what direction it's coming from, or when, or who's going to do it. That's my idea. What do you guys think?
I like that.
I like that a lot. Also, is that true? Did you propose to your girlfriend?
I did, but that was months ago. I always forget who I told, but yeah, that was months ago.
Congratulations. But
Wow.
it was very funny.
Wait.
Because Rob was.
Did she say yes?
She did say.
Oh, congratulations!
Okay, great. Yeah, congratulations.
Rob was like, you were like, "I just proposed to my girlfriend." Rob was like, "Yeah," and you're like, "So the thing about proposing is just like kind of wow." It was so funny.
which is how I hope you propose to her. Like, will you marry me? Which is a crazy thing to ask. I mean,
I want to do.
if you think about it, babe, it's just like, I mean, I'm on my knee and I'm asking you a question about marriage. Isn't that crazy? No, don't answer. I'm trying to get a bit out of this.
I like it from the other direction where it's like Rob gets really excited about people's joke setups. It's like, so I took a flight the other day. Oh my God, where'd you go? Would you fun on your trip?
I hope it was Paris.
So yeah,
Babe, will you marry me? Because I got this great bit I'm working on.
you guys didn't laugh at the part that I thought you guys were going to laugh at, which makes me think that there's
I like the
something
first
wrong.
part first. The second part that you were
yeah,
making, I didn't care as much about.
Just like one day out of nowhere, the guy's just going to be like, "Becky, today, yes or no? Yes or no? Are we going to be
Oh.
together forever, or are we walking away from this right now?"
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I like that the most.
I thought I laughed with that. But I don't know.
The chicken part, I had like a problem with being like following that logic. And I was like, I don't know if I like that.
I was
Well, I
lost.
guess-
I was lost on the chicken.
Maybe it's more like proposal assassin or something, where it's like you're never sure where the proposal's coming from, who's gonna do it, or when.
I liked chicken once I got it, but it's because you didn't say playing chicken. You said chicken, and I was literally trying to think about how it tastes. Like it was a food thing. I thought you guys were like.
I thought it was a food thing, too.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? Where is it coming from? what kind of chicken are you eating?
I see.
That was literally what was going through my mind. I was like, chicken comes from everywhere?
I knew what it was, and I still didn't enjoy it.
I don't want you thinking, Jarret, that this is a good joke just because they didn't get it originally. I got it.
I got it.
And I hate it.
I hate
And
it
I hate
that
you
way.
for saying it.
The reason I don't is because you just said how crazy and nerve-wracking it must be for the girl, which I totally agree with, that she just has to sit around and wait for her life to be ruined or consummated and satisfied. And like that's a weird position to be in without ever having a discussion beforehand. So the logical conclusion to that would be to just talk and just know that it's going to happen. It's just the when and where and how exactly could be left up to the guy to keep romance alive. But then your conclusion is like, everybody should be able to do it. I should be just as worried as she is. We should be sitting at Applebee's one day and be like, is this it? Is today the day? Is that my mom? What the fuck? You're like looking out for all these people for these surprise proposals.
That's a really good point, Rob. But I think it could be justified if I say, if you're not going to talk about it like an adult, at least even the playing field. At least, make the guy as nervous as the woman. Maybe that could work.
I would love it if you just flipped it 100%. That's why guys don't get proposed to, because they would be sweating every situation. Every time it was halftime at a basketball game, they'd be like, is that the Jumbotron? Oh my God. It's like, oh, it's the person next to us.
Guys are so
Constantly
terrified.
terrified of it.
They're so against.
Is that my
this
mom?
idea.
Yeah, we're having lunch with her today. What? You put this together? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Guys are willing to spend 3 months' salary to not feel like that in their lifetime.
That's really good.
I think you can shorten the beginning to traditionally, marriage proposals are supposed to be a surprise. Like by just saying that.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of setup, and they're supposed to be a surprise, and by the dude. Because
it's-
just right that there's like the real crux of the bit is why does it have to be a surprise?
Yeah, it's like because there's so much higher stakes than like somebody's birthday party or something. But you treat it
other
the same way.
surprises.
Surprise! You have to commit.
Yeah, for life to me, for life. Or what are some other things that you would never surprise somebody with, where you just like, here it is, it's the house we're gonna live in for the rest of our lives. And you're like,
I wanted to be
Well,
a part
yes.
of this decision. I wanted to see if it had the right number of bedrooms and everything.
honey, I bought the house. This is the house. I'm on my knees.
Surprise mortgage.
Are you gonna live here?
Oh, I guess we're breaking up then. If you don't like the
Okay,
house,
all right.
I guess we can never see each other again.
The only thing that is similar is jury duty. You just get a thing in the mail one day, and you're like, "Oh God, I got to commit to this now,"
Or go to jail.
which is not true. I've gotten several of those, and I have never gone.
As the cops come into Anthony's doom and arrest him. All right. You guys ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Slate.
Okay. So this is a joke that I have that's supposed to go after another joke that I have about there being a scale for sexuality where it's not just gay and straight anymore. There's like all these sort of levels in between. So they say, I do love how loosey-goosey sexuality has become. There's so much variety now. It's so specific for each person. Like, I'm totally straight, but once a month I dress up like Superman and my wife watches me suck a dick. It's great. I support this. I support the variety. I hope it gets to be where it's weird if you're only straight or gay. Like, I hope in the future people will be like, wait, you only sleep with women? You don't do anything with men? Not even feet stuff? Ugh. Were you molested or something? Like, how does that even happen? What do you guys think?
I
want a name for the Superman thing.
For the
'Cause
Superman
there's
thing?
Like, there's pansexual, there's sapiosexual, there's so like,
cryptosexual.
yeah, crypto. I'm cryptosexual. Once a month, whatever. Yeah, yeah, that'd be great if you could name it. Perfect.
I'm cryptosexual. Once a month, I dress up like Superman, and my wife watches me suck a dick.
And you pay for it with bitcoins.
Because dick is my kryptonite. That's really funny. I like that.
What's your clever pun sexual fetish? What do you mean you don't have one?
Maybe he says like, "Oh, I'm just gay," and then you come up with an acronym for gay that's like a weird thing. I was like, "Oh, goose ass, yes." I've heard about you guys. You do goose ass play, and you're about it.
So did you at the end when you said you're just heterosexual? Was that?
I say, wait, you only sleep with women? You don't do anything with men? Not even feet stuff? Ugh, were you molested?
I think it would be interesting if you went to gay. I don't know if you've already intimated this point or not, but if you're just gay, then even that's like, really? You're just gay? You just have sex with men? And like, there's like, if you start even questioning the idea that homosexuality is just like a very fine sliver of the whole spectrum, that even that's a bit weird. And you're like, you don't do anything else? There's no this, there's no that. Just a thought, but I like where you ended up.
I think it's stronger to say straight because I want to make it seem
agree.
like that the most regular thing becomes the most normal thing. You know?
Right.
And so, the most regular thing becomes the weirdest thing.
Right.
Whereas right now, even though it is as societally acceptable to be gay as it ever has been, it's still the deviation. It's still the thing that's weird. And so what I want to do is say, instead of, wait, you're only gay, I want to say, wait, you're only straight?
Yeah.
You know?
100%
Does that make sense?
Of course.
I think that molestation may carry too much weight in terms of the connotation with it. But I think you could probably go a little softer on brand. Like, have you tried praying it away?
That's good. I like that a lot more.
Maybe there's a conversion camp for for people.
Yeah.
Who,
But it's still called gay conversion therapy.
oh my god, that's such a good idea. Gay conversion therapy is not branded right. I was hoping to expand my horizons and maybe
That could maybe be the beginning of the joke.
Yeah,
dip my toes
out of the
in.
camp and you're just so upset.
Oh man, it is the opposite the thing that I wanted.
Oh man,
Brett, that's fucking hysterical,
that's
man.
really good.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, and that's all I got today, guys. Thanks so much.
Excellent.
Nice.
Coming in just under the radar. I love it.
All right, Rob, you
Hey,
are
thank
up.
you guys so much. All right, here's my time started. I want to admit to you guys that last time I came in, I only had, I kind of gave you some throwaway bits, to be honest, and that really wasn't, my original intention. I wanted to always work on bits that I was like actively trying to make better, or just I ran into a snag, or it's not really quite in the thing just yet. So I recognized that last time, where it was just like, here's a thing, it's a pun, whatever. And it's like, do you like it? Do you not? I don't care. But I don't want that to be my main mission. So now, for today, I'm working on a one-person show, and it delves in a lot more to things about my life, my history, my family, but it has plenty of stand-up elements threaded throughout, and I've been trying to beef up and make those stand-up elements as strong as possible. So I wanted to come to you guys with a couple of the bits that I have not been able to work out on stage, because I haven't been on stage for a while. So this is going to be a little long-winded, and hopefully you can guys just I'll try to get through all of the stuff that I'm thinking, and then maybe you can just make mental notes, and we can pick it apart from there.
Will it be longer than the intro?
I already started.
I'm just kidding.
I know. Okay, so my brother's a musician, and he struggled with that choice to become a musician for a long time because nobody wants you to become a musician. Like, everybody who loves you and cares about you is in their right mind wants to stop you from doing that. And I'm kind of personally torn about how to treat kids who want to go into the arts. at the very first glance, it's like, do kids really know what they want? Like when they're really young? Because I don't know. It seems like it's the right parental thing to do to guide them away from some silly ideas. Like when I was a kid, this is true. I told my parents I wanted to be a garbage truck. Not a garbage man. I wanted to be specifically a garbage truck because that's how kids think when they're young. They want to be what they see, but they're not exposed to like a lot, right? They see their mommy and daddy, so they want to be mommies and daddies. They see their doctor, so they want to be doctors. They go to school, so they want to be teachers. They see the garbage man, so they want to be the truck that he rides on. Like that's a natural thing. And my parents did the absolute right thing. They said no. They said, Robert, you can't become a truck. You could become a garbage man, which I think that's good early intervention. Garbage man, by the way, is the one job that will never be gender neutral because no matter how many women edge themselves into the field, nobody wants to be called a garbage person. It's not an upgrade. It'd be a garbage person. I think it's interesting the wide range of things that kids want to be. You're really setting your parents up for a very far different standard of care depending on which of those things pan out. Like it's very a kid could be like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, and the parents are like, oh well, you know Johnny, that's going to be a lot of hard work, and you're going to have to go to school, and it's going to be a lot of this. Or they could be like, I want to be a cop. And you're just like, you could do that tomorrow. Like, there's actually no barriers to entry at all. Just a high school diploma, you're fine. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. Okay. On the one hand, here's my thought. You don't want them to be filled with guilt that they're potentially doing the wrong thing. Like if you want to really come down and admonish your kids hard, you don't want for their entire lives for them to be filled with this sort of guilt and anxiety that they're potentially doing the wrong thing and will always have a chip on their shoulder about it. But on the other hand, it's such a tough go to go into the arts, for example, that you really only want those who are extremely passionate about it to go ahead and do it. So honestly, I think if you just say no to everyone, then the few that make it through who don't listen to that advice, they probably want to do it. I think that system totally works. I think all these people who are like, you shouldn't tell kids that they can't be what they want to be. I'm like, tell them all they want, that they're not going to succeed. Because the ones who are won't listen to you anyway. And the ones who wouldn't, they won't get any weird ideas. I'm not sure about that, but that's my thought. To me, it's like, okay, there's that. Okay, and I have one more thought about this. System works. I always felt so bad for those high school guidance counselors. The ones where they always get called out, on TV by somebody, who's giving an awards speech. They just won an Oscar or they just won a gold medal. And they're like, I just want to say that my high school guidance counselor told me that I was never going to make it. Well, guess what? I made it. And that guy, that poor son of a bitch, he's just sitting there at home. He's like, come on, man. Do you know how many kids that year I wanted to be Olympic athletes? I said no to all of them. And I was right like 99.9% of the time. That's not fair. And then one LeBron James comes along and now I'm a fool? Do you understand what it would be like? What did you want me to do? Did you want me to go to the principal, my boss, with stats that year? Like, well, for this graduating class, college admissions are down a lot, actually. But you know what? We have a lot of ballerinas. So that's good. We got a bunch of football players, professional with DJs, an alarming number of tattoo artists, and one garbage truck. So that's pretty exciting. And that's it. That's everything I had so far.
Okay, that's
funny.
A lot. I started taking
great.
notes.
It's
all very
please.
good.
Did you really say the garbage truck thing?
I really said the garbage truck thing, and I don't even think it was a slip of the tongue, to be honest. It was really. I started looking up articles to see other kids, like what the fascination with garbage men was. And there's been no official research into it, but a couple articles were written about it. And it was so funny because one I read just recently, there was some kid who also said he wanted to be a garbage truck. And then his parents were like, you mean garbage man? He's like, no, I mean a garbage truck. And I sent it to my brother. I texted to him. I said, hey, I wasn't the only one who thought there was a future in that.
I didn't say garbage truck, but I never. So like in pre-K or something, they were asking all the kids what they wanted to be, and everyone was saying like firefighter, police officer, whatever, and I was like, I want to be a dog. And I was the only kid in the class that that said something weird like that. And I've told a few people that over the years, and I never met another person that said a weird thing like that.
That's because they became dogs. And so you didn't know.
Yeah.
They achieved their dreams. You're
So
like, did you ever want?
Yeah, you know the only failure, Anthony. I actually had a weird one too. I had a best friend that his name was John, and we called him John John. I remember one day my parents asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I said I'm going to marry John John. That was it. That was my whole future plan.
To be a stay-at-home husband.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, but just gay? Not even?
I had a couple of ideas, Rob.
Please, that's what I'm all
So
about.
first, I don't know if there's room for this, but right when you started this bit, I thought as an audience member that you were going to talk about the difficulties of being an artist. I thought you were going to say, when a kid decides that they want to be a musician, we really need to be honest with them about what that means. Like, oh, you want to make this amount of money and eat rice and beans and live in a studio apartment with cockroaches and, then there's like a 10% chance of blah, blah, blah. That's where I thought you were going. And I forget what you said right at the very top about like, oh, because kids don't know like what they want. Mm-hmm. I think there's also room for that before that, because it's not only that they don't know what they are talking about, it's also that they don't even know what they want.
Right.
The second idea that I had was when you said the things that the kid tells the parent changes what the parents. Can you tell me what the phrasing of that was? What the parents'
This phrasing
idea
is
of their
best.
future is going to be?
Yeah, like as if that the standard of care is going to be quite different, or the path that they're going to have to prep their kid for is going to be quite different. Even though the kids are just shooting off at the hip, they're just saying this thing, that thing, as if it's both equals, and you're just like, these are not even close to equals. Like, if you want to, like, I want to be a professional baseball player, I want to be a garbage man. You're like, okay, well, you're like, one requires nothing, and the other is this. I threw in a cop joke just for good measure.
Yeah. One of these is going to require a speech from me. The other one is I'm just going to be like, okay. The thing that tripped me up was when you said standard of care, which I thought meant how well the parent was going to be taken care of in old age. So it's like if a kid says I'm going to be a doctor, then the parent starts like, taking out their brochures for where they're going to live in the Bahamas, but if they say they want to be a painter, it's just like, okay, well, I guess I can't retire yet or something.
I'm sorry for being unclear about that. I'll change that phrasing because I don't think I like going down that road because I think it's pretty obvious territory for a parent to be worried about how they'll be taken care of in old age. So if I bring it up, I do, but I'm more interested in the other thing, which is like I'm going to have to prep you. So I'll probably change that wording. Appreciate that.
And the last idea I had was more of a joke. It was like the kids just want to be a cop, and then you say, oh, well, you could just do that tomorrow, And I don't know why, but my kid didn't want to hear that. He started crying, and I was like, well, now you're acting like a protester. Which is supposed to be a joke about the cop beating him and
that's not
the
very
tear
funny.
gas.
Oh.
But I guess as I said it, I realized it came out like I was making fun of protesters.
Did sound like I thought that's what you were doing, but I thought you were just being mean as a parent
About protesters?
Yeah.
No, what I meant to be doing was like making fun of cops for being violent.
I gotcha.
So I guess
Oh,
the
I
joke might be like, so I started spanking him, and then I was like, well, this is what a cop is or something. I don't know.
Based off of Jarrett's first note, if you are going to go through, well, do you want to eat, beans and rice and live off of that? The kid who wants to be a garbage truck would be like, yeah! Oh, you were saying about towards the end, there was something about weeding out a kid saying if they only the kids who really truly want to be musicians. Like if a kid is like, I want to be a musician, but I also want to be a dragon. Like not that kid.
Yeah.
Like a kid who's like, I I just love music, and it's it's something like that. That was all I had. I had one other note, but I'm not sure what it was.
I don't know. It doesn't work as much with Garbage Man, but if you said something like waiter or something like that, you could have a part where you go like to the kids that say they want to be musicians. Be like, well, it's going to be both. Actually, you're going to be a musician and a waiter. Something like that. Something like a waiter.
Rob, do you think that your want to be a garbage truck had maybe anything to do with your echolalia?
Interesting.
Because I mean, there is nothing.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about you, Rob. I didn't know that you had a dick that went in 2 different directions.
Yes, you should. It's actually more common than you think.
Like a lizard.
Echolalia.
Like a lizard, yes, dragon dick.
Rob has had a compulsion since he was a child to repeat sounds that he hears.
Oh, interesting.
Being on the road with Rob is really fun because like every time a car or like you put on the signal, it'll be like tick tock, and Rob will be like tick tock. It's just like adorable.
There's a name for that?
Yeah,
I learned about it later in life when I was reading a biography on Einstein, and it said that he had echolalia. I don't know what that was, and then looking it up, I was like, oh, I know what that is. I have that. And when I was a kid, I used to be much worse about it. What's very interesting is that I think it's what got me into comedy almost more than anything else, because it's not just little ticks and noises and stuff. It's also just kind of melodic phrases or wording that you just kind of like. And there's this compulsion to repeat that thing over and over. So whenever I heard like a really clever joke or just something that just, wow, that was great, I would just it was on repeat in my mind, and I would say it over and over. If I made a joke and that really landed when I was like 14 years old, I would just like I don't know. I would say it over to the point where my friend had to pull me aside. He's like, hey man, you're funny and all, but you got to stop doing that thing where you repeat the thing that you just said. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'll kind of build up to it too. I'd say it to myself before. So I had to learn to just like, if I have a thought, just stays in the brain until it comes out, and then it only comes out once, and then you just shut the faucet off.
So you were repeating your punchline over and over again? Because I would love to see that comic who just like lights up as the laughter comes, and he's like, baby blue whale, baby blue whale, baby blue whale, baby blue whale. Till it's completely silent in the room and it's just him repeating it. Baby blue whale, baby blue whale, baby blue whale.
Do you have anything in your set about this already, Rob? Because I think this is really, there's a lot of meat on this bone.
I have nothing about it. I've never.
Because especially the way that Brett just put that, I think that is an amazing really joke, especially if it's couched in like that very personal detail about you, you know? Okay. And it's like, it's a good thing that I trained that out of me, because can you imagine if I was up here and then you just say one of your punchlines that hit really hard, you know, 8 minutes ago, you know?
Just so excited. That's really funny.
That would be really funny. If you're in between a joke, like looking for, when you have this pause, you're like, I'm not sure what bit is next. If you just bridge that gap by just repeating a punchline from a little while ago, but do it like you're thinking to yourself and say it in exact same intonation, that would be so funny.
We will.
Do the little like note with your hand thing.
That's great. I'm gonna have a relapse doing this bit.
Sorry, Rob.
Doing this bit.
But I think it's very funny that you and Einstein both had echolalia, and you wanted to be a garbage truck. It's like when my parents told me that Einstein also had this, I said I want to be a garbage truck.
Sure. All right.
I just love I want to be a garbage truck. It's such a funny. It's funny words. It's got that hard, like that truck is just such a good thing. Yeah. I feel like you should say that as often as possible.
This is a real stretch, but follow me on this, all right?
Yes.
So Einstein discovered the theory of relativity, which is the connection between energy and matter. So Einstein, before any other scientist, actually was on the path to figuring out how to convert himself into a garbage truck. No, it's possible that he also wanted to be a garbage truck, and he was just really trying to do it through physics.
My biggest beef with that is that Einstein's theory of relativity has nothing to do with E equals mc squared, which is the relationship between matter and energy. Relativity has to do with the relativistic speed of light and or the equivalence principle of gravity and
Fucking
acceleration.
nerd.
But aside from that, but E equals mc squared, yes, 100%. So if we start with that, we just can't say relativity. All good.
And then
Is
there's
there
this-
another name for that? For E equals mc squared?
That had to do with.
Is there a name for that equation?
I'm not sure if there's a specific name for that equation. No.
There is,
And I
his
forget what
lesson
paper
known-
specifically it came up with.
His lesson on theory is F equals That's his favorite sound.
Oh, I'm with you. Here's a fun fact. Einstein won the Nobel Prize for physics for his work on the photoelectric effect, which is when electrons kind of spark off of metal. So when you put metal in the microwave, it's the idea that free electrons, when hit by quantized particles of light, will actually knock electrons out of orbital and cause sparks. And that was it was amazing work, but at the same time, he was kind of hoping he would win it for relativity. But at the time, relativity was way too out there for the physics community, which was a bit of stuffy community, to actually award the Nobel Prize for. So they're like, do something else, and maybe. So it was kind of literally being like, we're not going to give it to you for that. Second fun fact is that he divorces his wife, and he promises her in the divorce settlement his Nobel Peace Prize, Nobel Physics Prize money, but he didn't even get it yet. But he was such a confident badass. He was like, I'll get it, and you'll get it if you want. So he's like, I don't need the money either, but I'm going to win it. And he won it years later. But that's what he promised her in the divorce.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is
fun,
interesting.
Fun Einstein facts.
I do like that he had to kind of he had an agent that's like, listen, you got to do a little hack if you want to appeal to mainstream America. Listen, this stuff is great. It's just I can't sell this. I can't sell relativity.
I've got something I'm working on right now. It has to do with light fucking hitting metal, and then electricity sparks off. But it's bullshit.
That's great.
That I like.
Wow.
That I like.
America's gonna love that.
Kids can dance to that. I like that.
It's such,
People
such
weren't.
trite nonsense.
Einstein's like, you're not. You guys aren't ready for that, but your parents are gonna love it.
That's great. That's
Very
great.
good,
Now I have to keep in my whole boring explanation just to get to that joke. Can't edit the whole thing out. Yes, thank you guys. I just wanted to recap a couple of things at the end too. That callback to garbage truck thing that makes sense. We didn't really get to the end. All the stuff with the guidance counselor stuff. Any particular thoughts on?
I love it. I've always thought that was such a funny thing. I tried to do a joke about that once where I was like, nobody has ever told me that I wasn't going to amount to anything. That's such a weird idea. That counselor's an asshole and he's telling all those kids, or B, he just has it in for that one kid, or C, that kid's a real asshole and everyone else should have been successful except for him. I never came up with anything for it, but I think your take is great. I think it's really funny.
So this angle works because I've had other thoughts about it where, I hate when I see some of these people and they say someone said they'd never make it, and it just boggles my mind that I'm like, nobody saw Whitney Houston sing and was like, I don't think you got it. I think you're making your history up a little bit. Nobody watched Jordan play and was like, yeah, I don't know, kid.
Be an accountant.
What if?
But I didn't go that route.
What if that's the first thing that they're saying when they win this award? Then that was obviously the guidance counselor said that because that's the one thing that would have pushed them. If they had said oh yeah, you're great, you'll be fine, they probably would be like, I got it. But they didn't do anything with their lives, It's like if that stuck with them so much, then that guidance counselor, that's exactly what they needed to hear.
But also,
That's true.
the idea of a guidance counselor, that's not any kid's dream. So it'll be interesting to talk about what you think the guidance counselor intended to be. Like, how did they end up as a guidance counselor?
What did his guidance counselor say to him?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, I
Or
come
maybe
from a long
really
line
look-
of guidance counselors. My guidance counselor told me to be a guidance counselor, and his guidance counselor told him to be a guidance counselor. So
Or
I'll be
maybe-
damned if I'm not going to make you a guidance counselor.
Maybe there was one kid who really looked up to his guidance counselor, and but I feel like most of the time it was they failed.
I love the idea of why are we listening to someone whose clearly dreams have failed? Like, why would? I mean, if I wanted to go straight towards someone whose dreams failed, I think I'd go to the guidance counselor's office for sure.
That's like talking to the garbage man because he can't even be the truck.
I think it might be
Even garbage men, some kids wanted to be one day, but nobody wanted to be that.
Is there something in maybe
Overtime, by the way.
the idea that the guidance counselor just really needed something like that week? He's like, there's no good refrigerator repair guys. Everyone that I've talked to has been a crook. And so every kid, he's like, you should be a refrigerator repair man and be a good one, And like, I don't know if that's something. Maybe that's too
Children
much.
of the future, and he's trying
exactly.
he's trying to create the future for himself.
He's
Can you become a
time
divorce
traveler.
lawyer? I feel like I'm going to need
Sent
one.
back through time in order to try to get kids.
I had a joke, which actually wrote down Jim Carrey here because this is an old joke I was trying to get working, and I got some of it. But it was basically about how Jim Carrey gave this speech that his father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't take risks, and he didn't. And now everybody can take those risks and go after what they really love because of the internet. And I was like, yeah, that's great, but like we need some people to be electricians, and we can't have everybody being artists, going after their dreams. We need some people to, otherwise society will crumble.
Isn't that, I think, in Caddyshack, isn't it? The line where he goes, one of the guys goes, the world needs ditch diggers.
I've actually never seen Caddyshack, but
seen Caddyshack either,
that
actually.
seems pertinent.
Yeah, I totally agree with
So-
that point of view, Brett, and that joke. I like that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that helps you feed into what you were getting into, and then I just went into examples of like how society's crumbling, and you try to hit a pothole, you try to get your car fixed, you go to the mechanic, he's like, sorry man, I can't help you, I'm a slam poet now. He gives you a poem instead.
He gives you a flyer because his
I have
band is
heard you say
playing.
that before. I have heard you say that before, Brett, because that
so-
line specifically reminded me. Yeah, I'm a slam poet.
So I don't know if I feel like that feeds in somewhere in there. I don't know if that can maybe give you an idea for structure or.
Yeah, I've been kind of avoiding that angle just because I am aware of it. It's not like it's lost on me, and I don't know if I care to fight for it as a structural thing for whatever reason. I'm kind of tiptoeing around not that thing. I like that I'm zeroing in on the personal feelings of the guidance counselor himself and what his job is supposed to be. His job is supposed to be to get kids to go to college or have some kind of future, and he can't just be whimsical the way the students want him to be. But structurally, the bigger picture thing, I totally understand and agree with you on that. I have heard your joke before about it, and a couple of people others, which I also like, based around that. So I don't know. I guess mentally, I just sort of been like, that's a conversation
Fair
for
enough.
a different set.
Rob, did you? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Rob, did you ever?
Is my audio good? All right.
No, yeah.
Rob, did you ever? I think that there might be more room when you go through your list of what the kids are doing, the graduating class is doing that year.
Yeah.
I think there's room for even shittier things for the kids to do. Like
Okay.
Ten just said YOLO. Got 5 who are going to blaze 420, Daddy.
That's fun.
I don't know what follow fish. Follow fish. I don't know what that is. I spelled it with a PH. I don't know.
Pretty hot
funny.
and in some, I don't know. I was trying to do fat with the PH. Anyways.
And Aaron Bishop said that he is going to finally bang Jenny. So,
I would like to hear it. I think that blame can be put on the guidance counselor if there were also a bunch of people who this guidance counselor told yes, and they're like, you're gonna, yeah, you can absolutely do that, and now they're addicted to crack, and they're like, but my guidance counselor said I was gonna be a great artist, or whatever they said, you know, like I want to hear the inverse.
Oh, that's
funny.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Maybe that justifies, like, if that's the case, then sure, yeah, blame the guidance counselor, but probably not.
There's a janitor cleaning up the bathroom at that award ceremony who hears it and he's like, Mr. Henderson?
He told me to become.
That was going to be a stockbroker.
Oh, that's really funny. I like that too. Yeah, this is all really great, guys. I appreciate it. This is not going away. I'm definitely going to be working on this. And it's weird because I have this interplay, this push and pull between trying to get in actual details of my life and my family while making comedy bits, and then not seeming too much like I'm just, doing expository stuff and then some jokey stuff and taking these diversions all the time, but rather, constantly feeding information into it. So also part of what I'm trying to get at is sort of highlight the points, highlight the, I don't know, just highlight some of the emotions behind it, where it's like, it's legitimate that you are going to be told not to do this thing. That does happen, which speaks to your point, Brett, like, but not in a systemic way. Parents aren't necessarily thinking about the future generation of, ditch diggers or otherwise. They're probably just worried about their child, being a success or living a somewhat happy life. And I don't know how much guidance counselors are thinking about that either. I don't know if they're like specifically trying to make sure that there are enough accountants and lawyers in the world or whatever, but they might be worried about their day-to-day operations, whatever their job is supposed to be. So that's kind of where my head went a little bit. But I'd love to work on this, even maybe bring it back to you guys, show you what I've been doing.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check back for more individual clips and full episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to support the show and get early access to new episodes as well as extra fan-only content, go to patreon.com/ITAPod. That's ITAPod, as in Is This Anything Podcast. Relevant links in the description. Take care.
Is this anything?